Alex Berenson, our good friend of the show, has been one of the predominant voices reporting on the truth about COVID-19, from vaccines to hospitalizations to masks to lockdowns. Alex Berenson has been a contrarian to the mainstream narrative from the beginning. And I say that as a compliment, a contrarian, not for the sake of being a contrarian, but because the mainstream narrative is dominated by Fauci and the CDC and Big Pharma and Joe Biden, and it's all corrupt. We all know that. Alex Berenson was banned from Twitter last fall because he tweeted something negative about the COVID-19 vaccine. This is what he tweeted last year that got him banned. He tweeted, quote, "It doesn't stop infection or transmission. Don't think of it as a vaccine. Think of it at best as a therapeutic with a limited window of efficacy and terrible side effect profile that must be dosed in advance of illness. And we want to mandate it? Insanity." So for that reason, Alex Berenson was completely banned from Twitter. He had over 250,000 followers, and Twitter just smacked him down. They said, "You're done. You're permanently suspended." And in response to this, Alex Berenson sued Twitter because he suspected that this was that he was targeted because he's not a Republican, actually. So it's not so much that he's conservative. It's the fact that he isn't deferring to the so-called experts, the World Health Organization, the CDC, and the Biden administration. He suspected, and rightly so, that there was collusion to ban him and that this was unfair enforcement. And he also suspected that the government may have been involved in directing or prompting or encouraging Twitter to ban him because he is such a powerful voice in this COVID-19 debate, or this COVID-19 cover-up on the part of the Biden administration. So fast forward to now, and Alex Berenson actually settled with Twitter. It's not something he was originally planning to do. He said he wanted to go to discovery. He wanted to depose some of Twitter's employees to get them to admit that they did target him unfairly and suspend him based on his viewpoints and not because he broke any terms of service. He settled with Twitter, which came as a surprise to a lot of people because he said he wouldn't. But this is why. This is the official statement it's a joint statement from Twitter and Alex Berenson. It says, quote, "The parties have come to a mutually acceptable resolution. I, Alex Berenson, have been reinstated. Twitter has acknowledged that my tweets should not have led to my suspension at the time." Wow. When I read this, I thought, oh my goodness, Alex Berenson must have had the goods on Twitter, because if he got Twitter to actually acknowledge that his tweets should not have led to a suspension originally, then there's something that Twitter really, really, really did not want the public to see. Communications between Twitter employees, perhaps communication between Twitter and government employees. This is the first time that someone who is either a contrarian voice, an independent voice, or someone on the right who has been unfairly suspended and banned from Twitter has gotten reinstated in this way. This is the first time. This is a really, really big deal. Berenson also said in relation to the government and the possibility that the government was involved in encouraging Twitter to ban him, he said, quote, "The settlement does not end my investigation into the pressures that the government may have placed on Twitter to suspend my account. I will have more to say on that issue in the near future. I made a promise to my readers last month, and I take my promises to readers seriously." Now, after Alex Berenson got back on Twitter and he tweeted these statements, Elon Musk jumped into the fray and he asked, "Can you say more about this, quote unquote, pressures that the government may have placed on Twitter?" And Berenson says, "I can't say more about that now, but stay tuned." I can't understate, or I can't overstate what a big deal this is, because it shows us that Twitter does have something to hide and that they're afraid of lawsuits like this. And they're admitting that they're banning things, not they're banning words spoken by people, but the words they're banning unfairly because they don't want those words to be spoken. This could be the beginning of a really significant shift in how Twitter operates if they are vulnerable to lawsuits like Alex Berenson. So I, for one, am delighted to see this.